I'm glad you mentioned that because in January or February, I made a video of when I asked the Lord the night before if he could give me a rapture dream. And I was at a funeral. I thought it was my funeral, but I was talking to a friend, and the more we were going through it, we're like, you may have just coincidentally been at a funeral, someone else's funeral, because I didn't see myself in the funeral, but I saw myself go up. And when I got to this place, that was pretty tranquil. It looked like a tropical island kind of thing. Looked like a tropical island kind of thing. I was coming out of the water. I was coming out of the water, and there were people all over that pool looking, watching people coming out of the pool, their loved ones, which I found fascinating. And I'm
Wow.
like, if that's the rapture, it kind of looks like the people in heaven know when these people are coming up, and they were coming up out of the water, and they were coming up out of the water.
He says these people would continue to be lifted up through a light beam. He kind of drew that here. A light beam, and they would go up high in the sky. He says at some point they would come to like a crossing point of some kind. And I added like the edge of a river, like the river of life in heaven. He says at some point it would come to like a crossing point of some kind. And I added like the edge of a river.
Left, right, and center. And I'm looking at Jesus. I'm looking at the Holy Spirit. I'm looking at an angel that was kind of sent to kind of watch over me a little bit, which I didn't. Honestly, I would be the guy that says, I don't believe in guardian angels, none of that stuff. But when the angel hugged me, saying, yeah, I've been kind of watching your back, I'm like, okay, this is news to me. So,
Wow.
but this was a tropical type island. But this was a tropical type island. And my first thought was, this is not the final spot, but this is an area where we're gathering. And I was coming out of water.
He says the boy didn't know what the crossing was, but it reminded me of the Israelites under Joshua crossing the river Jordan and entering into the promised land. But of course, this time heaven would be our promised land. He says as the people were passing through this unknown area, which could be the river of life, the people would become transformed into a body that is very new and beautiful. The people would look like angels, he said. The people would be better looking than they have ever looked on earth. They would also be dressed very nicely, as if they were going to some type of fancy gathering, like that great banquet in Luke 14. He said after the people crossed to the other side, they were in heaven where Jesus and God were. The boy said that this would be the first of 3 raptures that would occur over 7 years. Okay.
Which is weird. And I had my body. And I'm like, and I knew it was my new body, but I knew I was me. And I saw my dad, who was about 30 something, who passed away a few years ago. I knew it was my dad. And he's like, hey, I want to show you a fishing hole. And as I was about to say,
Wow.
that's awesome, I woke up and I'm like, go back to sleep. Go back to sleep. Go back to sleep. There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
expressing on their faces. My own heart shook with them. But the Lord had spoken. When you see the Ark of the Covenant carried before you, follow it. So I said to all Israel, sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. My voice trembled, not with doubt, but with awe, for I believed his word. Then I turned to the priests and commanded them, take up the Ark of the Covenant and pass before the people. And as they lifted it upon their shoulders, I knew the Lord himself was going before us. Then the Lord said to me, this day I will begin to exalt you in the sight of all Israel, that they may know, as I was with Moses, so I will be with you. And I felt the weight of those words burn into my soul, for I knew this moment would not only prove me, it would reveal him. So I spoke to the people, come near and hear the words of the Lord your God. By this you shall know that the living God is among you. The priests bearing the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord of all the earth shall set foot in the Jordan, and its waters shall be cut off, standing in a heap. So it was, when the priests who bore the Ark of the Covenant went before the people, they set their feet into the waters of the Jordan, swollen and overflowing in its flood. When all the people had crossed, the Lord spoke to me again. Take 12 men, one from each tribe, and command them to carry 12 stones from the midst of the Jordan, from the place where the priest's feet stood firm. So I called the men, and I told them, lift these stones upon your shoulders, and carry them to the place where we will rest this night, for they shall be a sign among you. When your children ask in time to come, what do these stones mean to you? You shall tell them how the waters of the Jordan were cut off before the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord. These stones will stand forever as a memorial to Israel. And there, in the river's heart, I set up 12 stones where the priests had stood.